Hey friends, welcome back to the cabin, and today I'm going to teach you all about guinea eggs. Probably one of the most valuable animals on our homestead is our guineas, and the main reason that they're so valuable here is because the amount of bugs that they eat, particularly ticks. And in the summer in the South we do have a tick problem, so they're very, very beneficial to have on your homestead. I've had people ask me, can you eat guinea eggs? And absolutely you can eat them. They're very nutritious and they are completely interchangeable with chicken eggs in your recipes. The one thing that I would want to remind you of though is that they tend to be a bit smaller than the chicken eggs, so if your recipe calls for 2, you'll probably want to use 3 of your guinea eggs. But when I show you in just a bit the difference in the yolk of our foraging chickens and our foraging guineas, you will see the richness in that egg, and that makes guinea eggs particularly prized for making cakes. We've got 2 female guineas is all that we have left right now, but they are actually laying in a wheelbarrow that we had left some hay in the barn. Now when you go to gather those eggs, you cannot touch them with your hands or they will not come back to that nest. So what I do is I have a long metal spoon and I'll reach in and I'll scoop the eggs up one at a time, and then the next day they will have gone back to that nest and laid again. But if there's a human scent in that nest, they are so particular, so protective, that if an animal, a predator, or a human gets on the nest, then they won't lay there anymore. So if you're fortunate enough to find where your guineas are laying, just keep in mind that that's something you don't want to do, is to put your hand in the nest. One very noticeable difference in a guinea egg and a chicken egg is the hardness of their shells. The guinea eggs are much harder. They're extremely hard compared to a chicken egg, so of course they're harder to crack. Okay, if you look here, you can really see how pointed this guinea egg is, and if you also see the white on here, one thing about a guinea egg shell is it will be much more textured and it will be much more of a matte look to it, not shiny at all. But if you can see even here, this is just some of the calcification on there. It does not wipe off. So you can see that's kind of a molted look on it right there. Here's another one. This one's a little bit cleaner looking, but it still has the exaggerated point on it, and it has that matte look to it. And different ones, here's another one that's even got a little bit more texture to it, and you can see some of the calcification on there, and you can tell that it doesn't wipe off, and it's actually a little bit rough. Now compare that to the chicken egg. Let's hold this one back up. These are my Delaware eggs, and you can tell they're a bit more shiny. They don't have near as much texture to them, and even the pointed ends aren't as exaggerated as the guinea eggs. But one of the things that really sets the guinea's eggs apart is the way that they crack. They are so hard. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to start with a chicken egg because it cracks real easy. You see that right there, and that's a pretty rich looking yolk in that one. All right, so let's go ahead. You can tell the difference already. Much, much harder. And it doesn't want to split quite as easy. Oh, look at that. You can definitely tell a difference in the richness of the yolk. So now let's fry a couple in the skillet. We're going to do the chicken egg and the guinea egg and just see if there's any difference. Okay, so I'm going to give you a couple of tips. If you're going to fry or scrambled eggs in a cast iron skillet, one thing you want to do is have it moderately hot. You don't want it too cool. My favorite go-to oil is actually ghee that we make here on the homestead. So another thing that you'll want to do when you get ready to fry your eggs, or one thing that I like to do first of all, is to go ahead and get a little bit of this, whatever oil that you're using, on your spatula, and that will help to keep the egg from sticking as badly to your spatula. All right, so the first egg that I'm going to fry is my chicken egg. I'm going to bust that yolk up a little bit so you can see it really good. And you can see that this skillet is a non-stick skillet because it's such a well-seasoned cast iron skillet. We're going to moderate our heat just a little bit. Okay, so while that one's cooking, I'm going to go ahead and put the guinea egg in there so that you can see the difference in the yolk. It's even thicker, as you can see. It's got a thicker texture to it. It's a deep, deep orange. Let's see if we can get this one turned over. There we go. Now you can see the difference as well. I'm going to go ahead and take this other one out. And I'll show you a side-by-side comparison when we get them plated up. All right, so let's put this, kind of overlay that one with the other one, and I'll set it over here, and we'll look at them side by side. Well, there you go. Chicken egg and the guinea egg. They're both equally nutritious, and they are interchangeable, and they're delicious. Well, you can probably tell that I absolutely love our guineas. They are such a blessing on the homestead. They have their own little personalities. They make a lot of racket. That's a good thing. That makes them great watchdogs. And we even name them, because they're two females, and that's all I have right now, no males. We named them the Baldwin sisters from the Waltons, because they kind of, to us, they kind of act like that. We've got one that's a little more chatty than the other one. So if you've ever watched the Waltons, you know what we're talking about. But they are such a blessing here on the homestead with the bugs that they eat, the ticks that they eliminate, and they turn all of that into wonderful, rich eggs that we can use in so many ways. God has provided so much for this little homestead, and it is such a blessing. And I want to remind you of this. Don't ever forget that your Heavenly Father loves you. And we'll see you on the next video. God bless.